Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ben Wolkoff Debriefs a Transition. Today, I would like to debrief a conversation that I had with Zach Chase, Diana Laufenberg, Bud Hunt, Scott McLeod, and a couple of other members of the St. Vrain Valley School District that work with Zach. I got to meet them for dinner last night, and we got to talking about who gets to tell your story. The reason why we were talking about this is that Zach Chase, Bud Hunt, and Diana Laufenberg are trying to start a podcast called A More Civil Discourse. They are starting it. That's what they're working on, where they get to debrief arguments and conversations that they've had with others about something that they disagreed. And they want to create an opportunity for people to just debrief, to reflect upon things that really shouldn't be so hard, but in this sort of politically charged environment, everything is, just going after one another rather than just having a conversation. How do we come to common ground? And Bud said something that I thought was really astute. He was saying that because of our own and his and my relative privilege, right? White males who are in positions of at least some power, that when we talk about conversations that have happened previous, that we are saying this is the canonical version of the story. We are bringing it to bear, and we are not necessarily providing for other folks to have that conversation, to tell the story of what happened. So let's say that Bud gets into an argument with someone and it's important and heated, and there is something that Bud didn't really do well in this particular argument. He did not create a more civil discourse. He can represent that in the podcast totally differently. He can represent the other side in a totally maybe false way. And I don't think he would do that, and I don't think that that's really the point. But it got to this part where we had to consider who gets to tell your story. And how do you tell your story without telling someone else's and sort of taking away their power to tell the story? And what it made me think of is this is now video number 46, I think, 46. And in each one of these videos, I have told some aspect of an event that happened or something that I am trying to grapple with and debrief. And because of that, I am telling my version of the situation. And it strikes me that I have been using my relative position and sending this video out to you, that I am claiming an official version of how I saw things. And I am telling my story, my truth, but I'm not necessarily allowing for other people to tell theirs or to tell the more full version of the story. And while I think that's okay in the grand scheme of things, I think there may be a way for us, much like we talked about who else could be in the room or how do we represent others that are not in the room, there might be a way for us to invite others to tell their own story and to invite others to be a part of co-owning the story. And so that's the question that I have, that I'm still wrestling with. If we asked folks to record an audio snippet, ask them to call in, if we asked folks to react to a video, if we asked folks to tell the story, even in text, we are asking for folks to own it in a way that they might not even be prepared to do. And so I have to consider what parts of this story are most essential that I have in specific, where I name names and where we have a deep conversation about what happened and how we move forward from it. If we are doing it well, we are considering the fact that some of the people that we are talking about and working with do not have the same level of privilege that we do. And that some of the stories that we might tell might get them into trouble, might make it more difficult to work where they work. And how is it that we might allow them to own the story itself, to empower the telling of their own story, but also to frame the story as we experience it, so that we are not taking away the power that someone else has and the important role that they might play in telling their own story. So that's my question. How do we allow people to tell their story while we tell ours? And how do we meet there in the middle? If you have thoughts about this, I know this is a little bit more heady than some of the videos, but it was important for me to consider and for me to debrief, because the story that I see isn't the full story. And I'd like to see more of the full story. I hope you have a great day of teaching, learning, leading, and creating. I'll talk to you soon.